Okay. I went and glued the cockpit onto the back hull. That actually went on really nice. There was a huge gap up here though. I don't know if that's supposed to be, if this is supposed to go back, but I could not get that in there anymore. And a couple little gaps there, but those were easy. There was those small. But the main gap was up top. And it looks like we're back all the way, because even back there it's tight. But that's okay. I took a little tulip and filled it in. Put a little bit in and then just wiped it off. Then let it settle a little bit and then put a little bit more in and wiped it off, and it settled in there nice, like a nice smooth little seam. But all in all, it went together good. Got the wires run through the holes I did through that back compartment. And you won't see them because they're real low. But I figure now, so all those are working. Brought them through and combined them with the two wall sconces that I have for the back compartment here. That Darth Vader will be in there, and then he has two wall sconces that glow nice and blue. And it came out pretty good. So I tied those positive and negatives together already, so we're just waiting on these two here, and then we got to do the engine lights as well. And we can start installing that board and getting all that working and seeing how I want to do the light configuration. So these I just have stuck in there. They're just 3mm white bulbs. And we should probably super glue them in. Oh, that is the decure. Probably should come from this end. Toothpick. Before it completely cures. I'm just spreading it around the bulbs. Make sure it's hitting the bulb and the plastic. So we get a bond. There we go. And now I can hit it with a little accelerator. I need to put this in a little dropper bottle because this pump sprays like a gallon of it, and instead of misting it, it sprays it in a stream. Yeah, there we go. And those stick out perfect. Like they're not out too far, but they're down far enough that you'll still be able to see a little flashing from, sides. You don't have to be directly on like that. So then what I'm thinking is we can bend the negatives together and boom, and then the positives. Alright. Hopefully these are on there good enough. Yeah. I can take these with my little bendy tool. Bend them into each other, and we got it touching. So we'll solder there, and then we'll bend that one tab up to attach the negative wire to. Bonded enough. Now can I get this tab to bend up? Perfect. And then these two I can cut short. Or maybe I should wrap the resistors around them first. What do we need here? Probably a 2 Let's see what the calculator says, because they're usually a 270. Yeah, 300. I was thinking 270. Or 330 is a common one. I got a 300 or something close. 270, I think is the closest I have in that one. So we'll do the 330. That's the next size up that I have. But I could have done this in a series. I'm going to power this with 9 volts, and that would only equal 6 volts, because in series your voltage goes up. In parallel, your amperage goes up. And if I would have done that at 9 volts, and if I did a configuration of 2 in parallel, or series, it would have been 150 ohm. 150, and that makes sense. Because it's half of what this one is. They're saying it needed a 300, which I'm using a 330. And so you could have gone either way. To save on a resistor, you could have used a ran in series. And what I'll do is we'll wrap this around. I'm going to invent a little tool that holds them. There we go. Excess part of the bulb, and on that I always like make sure if I see any of these little clippings to get them out, even little solder drops. I just always have a fear, especially I know the circuit board's going to be in this area, of it falling and shorting 2 pins out that don't need to be shorted out. Alright, now we'll do the other side. There we go. Now we can attach that to the 2. Actually, what we'll do with these is we'll just twist those 2 together. Then we have just one contact point for the wire. I guess we could check to make sure this works. Would be probably a good thing to do. There's that side, and there's that side. Perfect. Like I said, always check as you go before you get more in deep, and then you're in a spot where you have to break things apart. It's rare, but sometimes you have a bulb go bad, just like I had in that sconce. In one of these sconces, I had to pull apart because I must have missed a check stage, and it just didn't. Something happened to it, or it was already bad. Alrighty, and then our board, gonna have to come up with a place to put her. This is the front. That's gonna have that compartment going right up to these, not these little tabs there where this glues. It'll come to there, to those 2, and then this launching out here will hit those 2. So we can't put anything in that area. So I'm thinking somewhere right here. And then we'll actually put it on I had some tube styrene. I'll actually drill screws right into it, and then you can kind of cut them level, or cut yourself 4 little plastic styrene tubes that'll fit a screw through. That way you can screw it to those 4, so it gives it little legs. You could straight up hot glue it right to the bottom too. That's an option too. I don't have a metallic paint down here, so none of these hitting would matter. Because sometimes you have like a silver paint and you put something down like this, that silver paint will act, the little metal in the paint can act like a conductor. So you gotta watch that. But yeah, I could hot glue it right down too if I wanted to. Yeah, let's go and heat some of these up because they look. It's like they barely used a real solder on them or something. I don't know. Yeah, these solder joints on these boards should look clean. And shiny, and these do not. Yeah, figure it can't hurt just to slowly heat them up and put a clean solder and make sure there's no, especially the ones for the chip here. Those were really nasty. I mean, you could almost see the grime in this area. But the boards seem to be working for me. That one was a little worse than usual, and I did have one that was kind of one side. You know, because it's a railroad one, so all it's really doing is it's flicking power between the, the connections between the negative side. That's why you have a shared positive. So it has two legs, leg 1 and leg 2, and it has a shared positive. So that has constant power going to them, and it's same as the voltage you put into it. And I forget what the range this thing can take. I think it's anywhere from like 5 to 16 volts or something crazy. But whatever you put in, it'll only be like a 0.006 like drop. Very little to even measure. And then all it does is connect and disconnect the negative side, and that allows the bulbs to turn on or off. And then this here, your variable just changes how fast it switches between those two negatives. So that's why it has two negative legs, because that's what's pretty much switching between. So let's hopefully see if that makes any difference. But yeah, I think we're going to just hot glue this here. We'll put the power side there so that'll come out and go in. And then we'll have one leg if I decide to. You could use this as a flash kind of thing, or you could use it as a single flasher, as like a simple flash board, because they're really cheap. I think for like 2 of these it's $7. And then here I'm just gonna have a bulb sitting right here, ready for the fiber optics to come down out of this, where they're gonna come out of the. I think it's here's where they come out for the foldable wings, and then down there's right there's where it'll come down. They can come right into that bulb. I'll just attach the bulb right to the board. I was thinking about sticking it somewhere over here and running a wire to it. We could probably do that too. That might be good too, just to have something stable for the bulb to sit, so it won't move. Maybe we will do that, but I can put that like right here and then have all the fibers come right into there. Yeah, I guess that would probably be best. Then it's stable instead of it being able to flex around. Okay, so let's get the engine lights going, and that's what we got to do first. Is get my masking tape that I have back here. I was almost getting scared, and it's like, did I put masking tape back here? Yes, I did. We can get rid of that now. The one on the outside I'm going to leave, even when I paint the hull color. And then the very last coat with the hull color, I'll hit that. There we go. Two nice, clean areas that I taped for the engines. So, what do we do here? I'm thinking just 2 LED strips. One there and one there. And we can just probably just put a piece of styrene across here. For them to glue onto. And I could probably put 2 styrene tabs holding a long piece up and then do 2 strips. I guess I could put one all the way across. Depends what blue lights I have. I have the high density and the normal, but I don't know if the normal I have enough. I went and put high density in my Enterprise, and these are the ones, there's the ones that are not high density that I did have in there and they just didn't work. But I saved them because there's nothing wrong with them, and I pulled them back out. Those would probably work fine in here, I would think. Let's see how they line up. How many bulbs? Gives you 3. And each segment gives you 3. I think I'd still rather have a jumper. That way I can get each LED kind of centered. Yeah, that'll work perfect. As long as they're bright enough. I think that would be bright enough. I can just cut these 2 right off the end. Let's do these 2. Oh, that one's soldered together there. That bottom one works still? Row? That's the positive. So I'll just cut it right here. And that gives me my 2 strips. Yeah, I have. See how like it's only 3 LEDs across all that, which is where the high density here. Which I don't know. Now I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna probably say I should probably do the high density. It's gonna give me 6 in that same distance, probably. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. In that same distance. Now it takes 2 of these segments to make, but like they make these segments smaller. They make them in 3 bulbs always. But these 3 bulbs is over that distance, where 3 bulbs in that, it's only that distance. Let's see how, if this is any more intense. Sometimes there's a coating on the... I mean, having all that for one engine. I guess the best way to check to see what I do, I mean, if I can get rid of these here. If I can put those little, or even those alligator clamps should work. If I clip the negative right there. Clip the positive. And see if I can get that in there. See how that works. See how much glow we get. I like that. Let's see what one of these can do. I think I might want to go with the... Yeah. we're gonna, just because we're blasting through plastic, I think it would be smart to go with the high density. I got tons of these, so alright, no problem. Well, it was an option. If it was clear plastic, you know, that we're just milking up or something like that, I think that would be a good option. But going through plastic, and then we will have a coat of hull color on that side, we will do this. I got some. Use some of that up. I'll have to order some more. This is the 0.75, the thicker stuff. I'll go in Trains and Lanes and grab some. That'd work there. I could use this. Or do I do? No, yeah, I want to kind of cut it about the size of the LED. And then what I'm thinking is having those, because I don't think I need to build an actual light box. Although it might be good because of all these seams here for the wings going up and down. It might not be a bad idea to build a light box. I can always use some staging tape to hold it, but I think if I can get these like there, and I can cut a strip of staging tape to tape all that light block. Yeah, because I'm a little worried about bleed through here. It shouldn't, but the way the wings parts are designed, because they kind of have parts to catch them from coming up like that, so it shouldn't. So we'll see. But I think if I do even a little stage tape to make sure, that's what we'll do. And I can just glue that to like that. And glue the other one like that. I think so. If I can get those glued on first, it'd be great. Sorry I'm off camera. There's no way to hold this. That wire wheel, I want to get rid of some of the light blocking paint so it has something good to stick to. I have this little wire wheel. But you gotta be careful because it'll want to melt into the plastic. It moves that fast. Like I said, you want to keep this moving because it will heat up, start making the plastic gummy, and there we go. As long as you have a good gluing area. That makes me feel better. And what I can do is put a little dab of glue on those areas that I cleaned, and at least get these here setting up. That's that one. Make sure it's high enough that it catches enough of the piece that's going to come across. Yeah. Alright, so now we can, while we're letting some of that set up, we can get you guys glued on. And then we're going to jumper you over to the other one. So, let's peel off this adhesive, but I don't ever trust just this adhesive. Some are better than others. Like this, it's pulling up the adhesive instead of the adhesive's coming up instead of the backing on it. So that's why I don't even trust it. It doesn't even stick to its own self. So what I'll do is I'll hit it with a little dab of super glue. It'll probably stick to the styrene you stuck it to, but will the parts stay stuck to it? The adhesive they put on it. That's what scares me. So I always, a little dab of super glue. I think it'd be fine just to come up. I can come up here and then tack it so it stays away from there. Yeah. We'll just do a jumper across. I was wondering if I came up through the center here, and that's where I have my positive and negative, and they can that way. Alright, so we just need a little jumper wire. And we got light all the way across. So good, good, good. And we just throw tails off the end here. That might work, those two. Always keep scraps. I know I always say that too. But pretty short little runs, because I think I can have that. Yeah, the power's all going to be right here. Yep. So we will solder you. I should tin that one because it's been exposed for a while here. All right, and then all we have to do is get our spacing. I think we can get these guys to do the old bow leg. There we go. We can get our spacing. I guess we should start with one side and then go to the other, but one other thing we need to do is get these lightly tacked down with some super glue. A little bit on a toothpick works. Unless through that tooth. No, there it is. Get that one to fall right about there. Probably what I should do is mark the LEDs across the back so I can see them from behind and I know about where they are. Even just the center point would kind of give me an idea. But the two end ones let me know from this side. And I guess I could put a little bit of this on there. And start bringing you down somehow. It's a little hard to get it to where I want and pressed against the wall. You go that way. I don't know which glue to use. Alright, sorry about that. A little phone call I had to take. But I was gluing this side while I was on the phone. It was just happened to be cooperating. And I put some extra glue back there and I think we're good. That's all it looks like. Just a little ugly looking makeshift bar for the LEDs to go across. Well, let's check them. I already stripped these wires. Hopefully we're getting coverage. Oh, they're working. And it looks like, oh, that's great. And that's still going through yellow masking tape. And this isn't an extremely bright, you know, like Falcon, like engine lights that should be on here. Those look fine. Those will do exactly what I'm looking for. Just to glow a little blue. I have to go in and hit a little black on those seams there. Let me disconnect this because I'm seeing these seams here glowing. I mean, this is all going to get hit with black on the outside as well, so that's going to help light block things as well. Some staging tape, or what I do is just cut it in sections like that. Yeah, that's what you have to really measure. Come up like this. Well, there I'm going to have to come a little smaller. This strip right here. Try to keep it below the bottom half's gonna plug in. Yeah, that'll work. And let's see if I can get a small one up there. I'm not getting the squares of edges, but it's working. There we go. Do a little single slot right there. Hopefully. Not allow that to tuck down. I'm hoping that helps block a lot of it, you know. You'll still have a little bit that'll want to creep. Over this seam, but once this is all closed down on it, I think that's going to work pretty good. Let's see how well that makeshift light blocking working. Great. Now we don't have as much blasting through those areas. I can get in here a little bit with another piece, but I think that'll help with it getting into those areas. As far as the lighting of the engines from the outside, that looks good. And like I said, there's still a piece of tape that has a little bit of black overspray on it as well. So great deal. Can't complain there. So that's it. That's the engine. Another step closer. And then we just got to do this board and the lights for the fiber optic that are coming out from the wingtips, and jump over to that. Okay, on this piece here, I got all the two LEDs wired up. Just jointed the negatives here. Made the two touch and then put a little tail up to attach this wire to, shrunk tube it. Got two resistors on those positive ends, brought them together, twisted them, soldered a red wire to it. So those are ready, they work. The board's working great. After soldering those things, it actually might even be working better than it was as far as like connections seem to be better. Then in our main hull of the ship, we got, the LED strip back here for the engines, and then I just took some masking tape, some stage tape, and it works great for light blocking, and it's very sticky. Like, it sticks to carpet, gaffer's tape, it sticks to carpet, wood, dirty stages. Sometimes if you left it sit on there for like weeks, like if you had like a permanent stage, in your house and you have cables taped with that over top, it can be pain in the neck to get it apart. So I did that, and I also did it here because where this ramp goes up and down, there was an opening, and then we would get all this light. You'd be able to like look straight down through here and see light there. So I just used the tape. I was thinking about styrene, but I wanted something flexible so the ramp, because it is touching the ramp, but the ramp would still be able to go up and down, and it actually gives it some friction so it just doesn't fall clunk. So that worked out good. And like I said, this should never come off. It would probably, if you leave it on there for years and came back here and tried to peel it off, it would probably peel the paint off with it. Here's our leads to the LED strips back here. And then I took an old sprue, actually from General Grievous, his lightsabers, cut a little sprue off of there for a crossbar for this pre-wired LED that's already got the tube for resin on there for fiber optics and resistor and everything. And I just taped it with the staging tape again because this rubber here would really not stick. I guess I could have super glued it, but actually the staging tape would, you know, besides it gives a little, it has a little give, but that's okay. I don't mind it moving a little bit. Once those wires put tension in there, that should be good too. I just wrapped little strips around it and it's holding it just fine. You know, like I said, I could have super glued it, but you'd only have that little contact point. And that could easily get banged one good time and break off. And then these are our connections here for the sconces and all the cockpit lights. So they're twisted together. I can probably tin those. These are already tinned. These I'm going to want to strip a little more. Not by much. I think the negative will be fine. It fit into that. I did a test of the board with this light on both legs, and both legs are working. So I think I'm going to try and see what it looks like with these flashing opposite of this. That's going to control the wings. I think that'll look cool, that. Instead of them going at the same time. I believe in the movie they actually go at the same time. But I'm going to try something a little different. Yeah, where are we? We are ready to do that. So hopefully my iron is heated up enough that we can start tinning. This is one of the points I've been waiting for, because we can go ahead and tin these. For anything, just to make sure that they, you know, all the other wires get a good connection on them, because it is that magnet wire. And then I had a couple pieces of solder drip down here that I like to get rid of, especially if it's going to be in an area where a circuit board is. Something could fall in here and hit that resistor and then that transformer, and then boom, you have a short, which in these cases can actually cause a component problem. Can actually burn out a component. So always look for that. Make sure your stuff's clean. Give it a little tap, especially if you're clipping off little wires or resistor tabs or anything like that. Anything metal you don't want floating around in there. So I'm going to start getting this all ready to go and then come back. Well, okay. It is working. I ran the positive up to the shared positive with the other flasher. And then the negative's going to, this negative here is going to leg 1. This negative to the LED here is going to leg 2. The blue and white are the positives, which I ran and already made up wire to go down through the ship and through the tube and through the base. Soldered them. That's permanent power. I soldered that to the two positives that are going to the sconce and the cockpit, and the same thing on the negative side, and also tied in the engine lights all to that permanent power there, and then ran a blue and white off to the board. Alright, it's working. We got flashing lights, if you can see that there. And then this one's going to the opposite. See on my finger. And that's where the fiber optics will go, right in there. So I think that's going to work. If you can see how that. And then these will be the wings, that single light. I think I like that. I'll have to dry fit some of the fiber optics in there. I need to hot glue this board in there now that I know it's gonna work. It's working. That's gonna go somewhere over here, I think. So it's gonna go like that. So we're gonna put that like that. And then hopefully we can get all this stuff crammed down in there. We're probably gonna have to shove that wire down like that. Yeah, that'll work. And then these are just gonna go through the bottom, so that'll work fine. Let me turn that off in case we have something hitting short. So there we are. Everything is working. So our electronics are good. And I gotta get Darth Vader in here somehow. But he's small enough, I think I can tip him in and sit him down. Just gotta get a good footprint for him to sit on. And then these are two pilots, which are gonna be easy to get in. But there she is.